My son banned me from his wedding, but brazenly sent me a bill for $80,000 to pay for his lavish party and honeymoon in Hawaii. He even added, "Thank me for letting you contribute." I just smiled, feeling my anger turn into cold determination. His dream of a rich and perfect wedding would become a nightmare. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. I sat at my kitchen table in the quiet of my Lexington home, the October afternoon light filtering through the faded curtains. The envelope had arrived that morning, thick and cream-colored, with Kevin's precise handwriting on the front. I had assumed it was the wedding invitation. Finally, after months of radio silence, my fingers traced the seal, a small thrill of hope stirring despite everything. I tore it open carefully, expecting elegant cardstock announcing the date, the venue, perhaps a note asking me to walk him down the aisle like we'd joked about years ago. No invitation. Instead, a stack of papers slid out, itemized bills, crisp and professional, totaling $80,000. My eyes scanned the lines. $50,000 for the mansion rental near Lexington, a sprawling estate with manicured gardens and crystal chandeliers. $20,000 for catering, including imported wines and lobster flown in from Maine. Another $10,000 for the honeymoon suite on Maui, complete with private beach access. And tucked at the bottom, a handwritten note from Kevin. "Dad, after the problems you've caused the family, be grateful that I allowed you to contribute. This covers your share. Send the check soon. Victoria and I are counting on it." I stared at the words, the paper cool and smooth under my fingertips. Problems? The problems he'd thrown in my face during our last argument, blaming me for not climbing higher in my engineering career, for the modest life we'd led after your mother's death. My hand trembled slightly as I set the note down, the itemized costs blurring for a moment. Nearby, on the table, sat a framed photo of young Kevin, gap-toothed and grinning from a Little League game, his tiny hand in mine. How had that boy turned into this man, demanding money like I was an ATM, banning me from his wedding because I didn't fit his polished image? Shock hit first, a cold wave that made my chest tighten. I crumpled the note in my fist, the paper crackling like dry leaves. But then I smoothed it out again, laying it flat. No, I wouldn't let anger consume me blindly. I pushed back from the table, standing up slowly, my knees protesting the movement. The kitchen felt smaller, the walls closing in with memories of family dinners long gone. I walked to the sink, splashing water on my face, but it didn't wash away the sting. Kevin thought he could erase me from his life while dipping into my savings, the nest egg I'd built through years of overtime, scrimping after losing Elena to cancer in 2015. He'd called me once after her funeral, voice clipped. "You should have done more, Dad, for all of us." I returned to the table, picking up an old pocket watch, a family heirloom from my father, its chain worn from generations of hard work. It ticked steadily in my palm, a reminder of bonds that should endure. But Kevin had severed ours, hadn't he? Banning me because Victoria whispered that a simple pensioner would embarrass their tech executive crowd. I smiled then, a slow, bitter curve of my lips, as the hurt twisted into something sharper, resolve. I set the bill aside, folding it neatly, and felt a spark ignite deep inside, a plan beginning to form in the shadows of my mind. I glanced at the bill again, its numbers mocking me. The anger slowly ebbed, giving way to cold clarity. If Kevin thought he could manipulate me, he was mistaken. I knew a direct confrontation would get me nowhere. He'd dismiss me, as always. But I could gather information, find cracks in their perfect plan. My old laptop sat on the kitchen counter, dusty but ready. Time to find out what they were really up to. That spark lingered as I glanced at the photo again, picking it up this time. Kevin's young face stared back, innocent and full of promise, from a day at Jacobson Park when he was 8. He'd climbed onto my lap during a sudden thunderstorm, burying his head in my shoulder while rain pelted the car windows. "Don't worry, Dad," he'd said, his voice muffled. "You're the strongest." I'd held him close, promising to always protect him, just as Elena watched us with that warm smile of hers. I paced the kitchen now, the floorboards creaking under my steps, the scent of stale coffee from my morning mug hanging in the air. Those memories flooded in unbidden, weekends teaching him to swing a bat at the local field, his laughter echoing as he rounded the bases. We'd been unbreakable then, a trio against the world. But after Elena's death, everything shifted. Kevin was 25, already climbing the corporate ladder in tech, and he started pulling away. "You let her down, Dad," he'd accused one night over the phone in 2016, his voice laced with resentment. "If you'd made more money, maybe the treatments could have been better." I'd swallowed the pain, reminding him of the insurance battles, the second mortgage I'd taken to cover her care, but he didn't listen. He saw only my failures, the modest house, the reliable but unglamorous job. Last Christmas had sealed it. I'd driven to their sleek apartment in downtown Lexington, arms full of homemade tamales, like Elena used to make. Victoria had barely glanced up from her phone, whispering something to Kevin that made him smirk. "Dad, we're going vegan now," he'd said dismissively. "And honestly, you showing up unannounced? It's awkward." I'd left early, the drive home a blur of streetlights, feeling like a relic in their shiny world. Now this bill, it was the final insult, demanding I fund their extravagance while they shoved me aside. My fists clenched at my sides as I stopped by the window, watching leaves skitter across the yard. The anger built, a steady burn replacing the nostalgia. How dare he treat me like a burden, then expect gratitude for allowing me to pay? I wasn't the victim here, not anymore. I'd raised him alone after Elena, sacrificed vacations and comforts to give him a start. And Victoria, with her designer bags and social media boasts, enabling his greed. No, this betrayal demanded consequences. I vowed then, silently but fiercely, to turn their perfect day into a lesson they'd never forget. Rain began to patter against the glass, mirroring the storm inside me, and I turned away, my resolve hardening like steel. A momentary doubt flickered. Was I too old for this fight? But I pushed it aside. Justice wasn't about age. It was about dignity. With that thought, I reached for my laptop on the counter, the cool metal grounding me as I prepared to dig deeper. The laptop hummed to life in the dimming light of the room, its screen casting a blue glow across the cluttered table. I settled into the chair, the rain now a steady drum outside, and opened the browser with purposeful clicks. Kevin's social media profiles were private, but Victoria's wasn't. She loved flaunting their life. I scrolled through her posts, each one a stab. "Can't wait for our dream wedding at the Ashford estate." "Blessed Trusts, luxury living." The date jumped out, November 15th, 2024, just weeks away. Photos showed the mansion, its grand ballroom decked in mock setups, chandeliers sparkling like diamonds. I sipped from a glass of the cheap red wine I'd been saving, its bitter tang sharpening my focus. Action spoke louder now, no more wallowing. I jotted notes on a pad. Venue, Ashford Estate, 50K rental. Caterer, elite events, boasting farm-to-table for 200 guests. Photographer, some high-end pro named Lila Voss, her portfolio linked in Victoria's comments. "Gorgeous shots incoming," Victoria had captioned, with heart emojis. Internal debates raged in my mind. Should I confront him directly? No, that would give him the satisfaction of dismissal. Better to undermine from the shadows, make him feel the loss of control he so feared. Tab after tab opened. Wedding planner Mark Brennan's site, his bio touting seamless events for discerning clients. A mutual contact on LinkedIn confirmed he was handling it. An old colleague of Kevin's had liked a post about the booking. Honeymoon details trickled in from a travel agency's promo. Maui Resort, Overwater Bungalow, all funded by that bill they'd sent me. My anger flared anew at a video Victoria shared, her trying on a gown, Kevin grinning beside her. "Daddy's paying for the party. Indirectly," she'd joked in the comments, a winking emoji following. Indirectly? The audacity fueled me. I cross-referenced vendors, building a list, florist, DJ, even the limo service. The extravagance was staggering, far beyond what Kevin's salary could cover without my contribution. A hesitation crept in. Was this revenge too far, risking what little family tie remained? But then I recalled his note again, that condescending privilege, and the doubt vanished. This was about self-worth, teaching him that greed had repercussions. My hands steadied on the keyboard as I found Mark Brennan's contact number, the planner at the heart of it all. With a deep breath, I decided, time to make the call, to start unraveling their perfect tapestry. thread by thread. I picked up my phone, fingers hovering over the dial pad. The phone rang twice before a polished voice answered, smooth as polished marble. Mark Brennan Events. This is Mark speaking. How can I make your day extraordinary? I leaned against the kitchen counter, the receiver cool against my ear, steadying my breath. Hello, Mark. This is Stephen Torres. I'm Kevin Torres's father, the one footing the bill for his wedding. A pause, then warmth flooded his tone. Mr. Torres, Kevin mentioned you'd be calling to finalize payments. We're thrilled you're contributing to such a special event. The Ashford estate is booked solid, and Victoria's vision is coming together beautifully. I let him ramble for a moment about floral arches and string quartets, my mind sharpening like a blade. Actually, Mark, I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Can we meet tomorrow? I have some details to clarify. He agreed quickly, suggesting his downtown Lexington office at 10 a.m. I hung up, the click echoing in the quiet room, and poured myself another glass of wine, swirling it as I envisioned his face when the truth hit. No more hiding behind notes and bills. I leaned back in the chair, adrenaline pulsing through me. The meeting with Mark was the first step, and I needed to be ready. I spent the rest of the evening reviewing the bill again, jotting down key figures to keep facts at hand. Before bed, I picked out a clean sweater and slacks. Nothing fancy, but enough to look serious. As I lay down, I felt the plan solidify, like a house's foundation. The next morning, I woke early, coffee in a thermos, keys in hand, ready to head out. The next morning, I drove through light traffic, the autumn leaves swirling like confetti on the windshield. A brief hesitation gripped me at a red light. Was this the point of no return? But I dismissed it, accelerating as the light turned green. Mark's office was in a sleek building off Main Street, all glass and chrome, a far cry from my engineering firm's old brick setup. I parked and walked in, the lobby's sterile air carrying hints of expensive cologne. Mark greeted me with a firm handshake, his suit tailored and tie knotted perfectly. Mr. Torres, come in. Coffee? He led me to a plush chair opposite his desk, piled with swatches and contracts. A framed photo of a beaming couple under a gazebo caught my eye, stirring a quiet resolve. That joy wouldn't be Kevin's, not on my dime. We settled, and he pulled out the file. So the $80,000 covers everything. Venue, catering, even the honeymoon deposit. Kevin assured me it's all set. I leaned forward, my voice even. Did he? Tell me, Mark, did Kevin mention that he banned me from the wedding? That I'm not even invited to this extravaganza I'm supposedly funding? His eyes widened, the pen slipping from his fingers. Banned? No, he said. Family contributions were handled. This is awkward. Awkward, I echoed, short and sharp. Try insulting. He sent me the bill with a note saying I should be grateful. After raising him alone. After everything. Mark shifted, rubbing his temple. I don't know what to say. The contracts are signed, but without full payment, we can't proceed. Deposits are non-refundable, but the balance... Exactly, I cut in. Inform Kevin the wedding halts until he talks to me directly. No funds from me, and if he pushes, remind him how fragile plans can be. He nodded slowly, stunned. I'll call him today. This changes things. As I stood to leave, I overheard him mutter under his breath, "That arrogant kid." It fueled me, a first taste of the chaos brewing. I stepped out into the crisp air, the door clicking shut behind me, and felt the ripple spread, like a stone skipped across still water. Standing on the sidewalk, I felt a surge of strength, but knew I couldn't go far alone. Mark was just the start. Kevin wouldn't back down easily, and I needed eyes and ears I could trust. Alex's name surfaced in my mind, his number still saved in my phone despite years of silence. He knew Kevin better than most, and his new work as a detective could be useful. Sliding into the car, I took a deep breath, feeling the plan take shape, and started scrolling through contacts. In the car, I checked my phone. No missed calls yet, but the silence wouldn't last. As I merged onto the highway back toward home, my thoughts drifted to allies. Scrolling through contacts, I paused on Alex's name, untouched for years. Kevin's childhood best friend, the one he'd ditched when ambition took over. A quick memory flashed. Alex at 12, showing up at our door after his parents' divorce. Elena making him hot chocolate while Kevin and I played cards to distract him. I dialed before doubt could settle. Alex, it's Stephen Torres. Been a long time. His voice came through, surprised but warm. Mr. T? Wow, yeah. How've you been? Everything okay? Not exactly, I admitted. Kevin's getting married, but it's complicated. Can we meet? I need your expertise. Heard you're a private detective now, with photography skills. He chuckled dryly. Word gets around. Sure, the old cafe on Broadway, in an hour? I agreed, hanging up as I turned into my driveway. The house felt less empty with purpose filling it. An hour later, I sat at a corner table in the cafe, the aroma of fresh-baked scones mingling with falling leaves visible through the window. Alex arrived taller than I remembered, with a detective's keen eyes and a camera bag slung over his shoulder. We shook hands firmly, his grip steady. Mr. T, you look good. Sorry about Elena. She was like a mom to me, too. Thanks, Alex. And call me Stephen. I slid him a coffee. Kevin banned me from his wedding, but sent a bill for $80,000. I'm not paying. I'm fighting back. His face hardened. That sounds like him. Ditched me years ago when I wouldn't fake a reference for his job. Said I was holding him back with my small-time gigs. I nodded, probing gently. Heard stories like that. Exploited others for his climb. Oh yeah, Alex said, leaning in, his tone laced with old hurt. In college, he borrowed my project ideas. Claimed them as his. When I called him out, he ghosted me. Victoria's the same. All about the image. We planned over refills. He'd document the wedding from outside. Capture any fallout with photos and video, ready for public leverage if needed. A mutual acquaintance waved from the counter. Old Mrs. Jenkins from the neighborhood, stirring a laugh. Remember when you and Kevin pranked her with fake snow in July? Alex grinned, but it faded. Those days are gone. He changed. Mine too, I replied. But this alliance? It's real. We parted with a handshake, ideas swirling in my head like the steam from our cups. What if we need more? Recordings? Logs? I asked, the question hanging as he nodded thoughtfully. Come by my place tonight, I suggested. Bring what you've got, and let's start prepping for real. Alex grinned, his eyes sparking with enthusiasm. Deal, Stephen. I'll be there at 8. That question echoed as I drove home, rain starting to patter again on the roof. By evening, I had texted Alex to come over, unable to wait. He arrived at my door, toolkit in hand, the downpour turning the porch light into a hazy glow. Ready to level up? He said, stepping inside, shaking off his coat. We moved to the living room, where I cleared space on the coffee table. Dim lamps cast long shadows across the faded rugs, and I handed him a mug of hot coffee, its steam curling like a promise. Show me how to protect myself. Recordings, cameras, the works. Alex unpacked gadgets. A small recorder, hidden cams, even apps for call logs. First, legal basics, he explained, his voice steady and instructional. In Kentucky, one-party consent for recordings. Hit this button, mid-call. I practiced on a mock setup, his demo exposing tactics Kevin might use. Gaslighting, deflection. Like when he blamed you for his mom's treatments not working, Alex said softly. I remember you selling your car to pay bills. He ignored that. The words hit hard, pulling a memory. Elna in the hospital, her hand weak in mine. Kevin storming out after accusing me of not fighting harder. I shared it briefly, voice catching. She deserved better from all of us. You gave everything, Alex replied, his intonation gentle yet firm. I owe you. After my folks split, you let me crash here, tutored me in math. Kevin laughed it off, called me weak. We toasted quietly with our mugs, to justice, not revenge. He walked me through camera placement. Angle it here for the door, catch his faces clear. I tested one, the feed crisp on my phone, a surge of strength rising as the image stabilized. But as the device hummed, a new thought intruded. What if Kevin called tonight, sensing the shift? Kevin didn't call that night, but I knew the silence wouldn't last. The next day passed intense anticipation. I checked my phone, tested the cameras, took a walk around the block to calm my nerves. Every car passing by made me flinch, thinking it was him. By evening, I was on edge when the phone finally buzzed, his name flashing on the screen. The device hummed softly in my palm, its green light steady, when my phone buzzed on the table, slicing through the evening quiet like a knife. I was midway through brewing tea, the kettle just starting to whistle, steam curling up in lazy wisps. The screen lit up. Kevin. I let it ring, watching the vibrations skitter the phone across the wood, a chill draft from the window echoing the tension knotting my gut. It went to voicemail, then buzzed again. Victoria this time. I ignored that too, pouring hot water over the tea bag, the aroma of chamomile grounding me as I recalled Alex's advice. Record everything. Their words will be your ammunition. A few days had passed since our session, filled with quiet preparations, installing apps, testing angles in the house, even a walk around the neighborhood to clear my head. But now the storm was breaking. The notifications piled up. 3 voicemails, texts flashing urgent. I sat at the kitchen table, the dim overhead light casting shadows on the walls, and played the first one, finger hovering before pressing. Dad, it's Kevin. There's a misunderstanding with the payments. The planner called, said you pulled out. Call me right away. We need to sort this. His voice started composed, but an edge crept in like gravel underfoot. I replayed it, noting the panic bubbling beneath. Misunderstanding? As if his bill and ban were accidents. The second, Stephen, Victoria here. Kevin's upset. The vendors are threatening to cancel without your contribution. Don't do this. It's petty. Her tone clipped, superior, like scolding a child. Petty. The word stung, but I smiled faintly, sipping my tea. Alex had warned of this. Desperation masked as accusation. The third voicemail came from Kevin again, urgency ramping. Dad, seriously, pick up. Everything's falling apart. You owe us this after everything. The pause hinted at old grudges, his breath heavy. I listened twice more, analyzing the rising pitch, the implied threats. Rumors must be spreading. Mark had done his part. Then a call from an old mutual friend, Mrs. Hargrove from down the street, her voice hesitant when I answered briefly. Stephen heard whispers at the club. Kevin's wedding troubles. People saying money issues. Hope you're okay. Her words sparked a twist. Public whispers already? I hadn't expected the ripple to reach so far so fast. It fueled me, a surge of control after years of being sidelined. But as I set the phone down, another voicemail pinged in, Kevin's voice cracking this time. If you don't fix this, you'll regret it. The threat hung there, replaying in my mind as I stared at the screen. That threat echoed as the phone rang again the next evening, insistent like a heartbeat, in the living room where I paced, the recorder app open and ready. I gripped the device tightly, letting it ring 4 times before answering, a deliberate pause to unsettle him. Hello, Kevin? Dad, finally. What the hell is going on? Mark says you refuse to pay. You're sabotaging our wedding, his accusation burst out, voice pitching high with frustration. I breathed steadily, the carpet soft under my feet. Sabotaging? You banned me. Sent a bill like I was a sponsor, not family. Remember your note? Be grateful. A beat of silence, then he exploded. That was... Look, it's not like that. Victoria's friends, the crowd, you're retired, Dad. It wouldn't fit. But the money? You owe it. After Mom, after the struggles you caused? The jab at Elena twisted like a thorn, but I stayed calm, recording every word. Owe we? I raised you alone, sold what I had for her care. You blame me then, ignore me now. No, Kevin, no payment. You're ruining everything, he shouted, the words raw. Victoria's furious. The caterers want deposits. The estate's holding the date but threatening fees. Fix it. I paused, drawing strength from the pocket watch on the side table, its tick a reminder of enduring dignity. Fix what you broke. Talk to me like a son, not a banker. Then Victoria's voice cut in. Speakerphone, I realized. Stephen, this is ridiculous. We're building a life. Your pettiness could cancel it all. Think of the embarrassment. Her interruption spiked the tension, her tone laced with disdain. Embarrassment? Like banning your father-in-law? I think of the bill you sent. The honeymoon you expect me to fund while excluding me? Yeah, Kevin jumped back in, defensive. It's duty, Dad. Family contributes. Admit it. You're jealous of my success. The admission slipped out, jealousy as his excuse, and it hit like a revelation, exposing his ego. I countered firmly. Success built on using people? Not anymore. The line crackled with his heavy breathing. You'll regret this. We're done. He hung up abruptly, the silence ringing in my ears. his words echoing as a key slip, a vulnerability laid bare that sharpened my resolve. That vulnerability lingered in my thoughts as I paced the hallway, the house quiet except for the faint hum of the fridge. Moments later, a text alert chimed. Alex, update, vendors demanding payment, rumors flying at the estate, photos incoming. I opened the attachment, blurry shots of workers pausing setups, a florist van idling uncertainly. The images fueled me, but then Kevin's texts flooded in. Selfish old man, destroying our day over ego. Short, stabbing accusations glowing on the screen. I scrolled, heart steady, when the neighbor's call came. Mr. Ellis, from across the fence. Stephen, saw Kevin yelling at a delivery guy yesterday. Rude as hell, demanding discounts like he owned the place. His voice gruff, supportive. Heard about the wedding mess. If you need backup, I'm here. Remember how he snubbed us at the block party? Acted too good. I leaned against the wall, phone to ear. Thanks, Ellis. What exactly happened with the delivery? He chuckled dryly. Guy dropped off invitations or something. Kevin berated him for a crease, said, Do you know who I am? Victoria just watched. Folks are talking. Vendors pulling out. The anecdote painted Kevin's arrogance vivid, a snub echoing his treatment of me. Appreciate the intel. Keeps me going. No problem, Ellis replied, warm. You've got community here. He doesn't. We hung up, and I texted Alex back. More from neighbor. Kevin's alienating everyone. His reply, perfect. Escalation incoming. Preps faltering. But as I set the phone down, a new text from an unknown number popped up. Perhaps a vendor, hinting at deeper trouble. Mr. Torres, wedding cancellation fees. The words trailed, spiking a fresh wave of urgency, as the ticking clock on the mantel seemed to count down to something inevitable. The gray light of dawn seeped through the curtains on November 15th, 2024, the wedding day, as rain began to patter against the window panes like impatient fingers. I'd woken early, the ticking clock from the night before still echoing in my ears, a reminder of the urgency building over the past week. Those days had slipped by in a rhythm of quiet vigilance, monitoring updates from Alex, ignoring the escalating texts from Kevin, even taking long walks in the crisp Lexington air to steel my nerves against any wavering doubt. Now, as I checked the weather app on my phone, forecasts of steady downpours mirrored the storm I'd orchestrated, a symbolic deluge washing away pretenses. I brewed coffee, the rich scent filling the kitchen, and settled at the table with my device ready. Alex's first text came at 7 a.m. At the estate, vendors arriving or not. Photos soon. I sipped slowly, the mug warm in my hands, as images trickled in. Florists unloading vans only to repack half the arrangements, their faces pinched in frustration under umbrellas. Deposit issues, one caption read. They're leaving. The chaos unfolded in real-time snippets. A caterer truck idling, workers boxing up crates of untouched china and silverware, rain slicking the driveway into a glossy mess. Guests started arriving around noon, Alex's covert shots showing confused clusters under tents, umbrellas blooming like dark flowers. Overheard. Where's the setup? His message pinged. I ignored a flurry of calls from Kevin, the phone vibrating like a trapped bee on the table. Voicemails piled up. I played one, his voice frantic. Dad, send the money now. Everything's falling apart. The estate manager's threatening to shut it down. The desperation cracked through, a far cry from his earlier arrogance. More photos. The grand hall half-dressed, chairs scattered haphazardly, no sign of the string quartet. Then, a shot that twisted something inside me. Victoria in her gown, expression crumpled, rain streaking the mansion windows behind her like tears. Doubt flickered briefly. Was this too cruel, turning their day into a spectacle? But I recalled the bill's condescension, the ban that cut deeper than any rain, and the doubt dissolved into quiet satisfaction. Justice wasn't gentle. By afternoon, Alex reported, guests milling, some leaving, rumors spreading, family feud over funds. I paced the room, rain drumming steadily outside, envisioning the humiliation unfolding miles away. Another voicemail from Kevin pleading, Please, Dad, wire it. Guests are laughing. Help. A guest's murmur in Alex's audio clip, This is a disaster. Poor planning? The downpour intensified, sheets of water blurring the yard, as if nature itself amplified the reckoning. But then my phone rang again, Kevin's name flashing, his voice on the edge when it went to voicemail, mid-ring. That mid-ring plea hung in the air as I let it roll to voicemail once more, the sound swallowed by a sudden pounding on the door, insistent and heavy amid the downpour. Rain dripped from the eaves in steady rivulets, pooling on the porch steps. I approached slowly, peering through the peephole. Kevin and Victoria, disheveled in pajamas under hastily thrown coats, hair plastered wet, faces pale and drawn. I opened the door a crack, the cool mist spraying in. "What are you doing here?" Kevin pushed forward, water dripping from his sleeves onto the entry rug, forming a small puddle like an unwelcome intrusion. "Dad, let us in. The wedding's ruined. Vendors left, guests scattered in the rain. It's a joke now." Victoria huddled behind him, her makeup smudged, gown peeking absurdly from under her coat. "Stephen, please. Wire the money. We can salvage something." I stepped aside reluctantly, closing the door against the wind. They stood dripping in the hallway, the familiar scent of my home clashing with their desperation. "Salvage?" After banning me, demanding I pay like a silent partner. Kevin ran a hand through his soaked hair, voice breaking. "It was a mistake. Victoria's idea. The image, you know. But now, everything's collapsed. Help us, Dad, for old times." I crossed my arms, steady despite the emotional pull. A flashback hit during the pause. Kevin as a teen after Elena's funeral, accusing me of weakness while I buried my grief in work. It fueled me. "Old times? Like when you blamed me for Mom's death? Ignored me unless you needed cash?" Victoria interjected, her tone wavering for once, vulnerability cracking through. "We didn't mean it's the stress. The honeymoon's booked, deposits lost. Think of us." "Think of you?" I echoed, calm but pointed. "Would you value me without my wallet? Answer that." Kevin hesitated, eyes darting. "Of course. You're a family. But success means standards. Please, just transfer it." The admission, standards over bonds, hung heavy, exposing the shallowness. "No, Kevin. This is the consequence. Greed has a price." He begged then, voice rising. "You're destroying us." Guests whispered, vendors mocked. "Fix it. For your son." Victoria clutched his arm, whispering urgently, but I shook my head. "Go. Learn from this." As I moved to open the door, Kevin's final words tumbled out, raw. "Wait, Dad. I regret it. All of it." The rain roared outside, and I closed the door on them, their footsteps retreating into the storm, resolve lingering like the echo of his regret. That echo faded into silence as I turned away, sinking into the armchair by the window, rain streaking the glass in fading patterns. Their car lights pierced the dusk before vanishing, leaving the house wrapped in a comforting hush. The next few days blurred into reflection, fielding calls from curious neighbors, sorting through the emotional debris, even burning the original bill in the fireplace one quiet evening, its ashes a symbolic release. By week's end, Alex texted confirmation. "Full collapse. Estate refunded partial, but reps tanked. Buzz got me new clients, thanks to the fallout." I called him, the line crackling warmly. "Stephen, you did it. Photos show the empty tents. Guests bailing. Kevin's circles whispering. Arrogance bit him." I leaned back, glancing at an open photo album on the table. Faded images of happier times, stirring but not overwhelming. "Appreciate your help, Alex. Feels freeing." He laughed lightly. "Anytime. Heard from him? Not since, but maybe he'll learn." We chatted about old pranks, the conversation turning to future plans, perhaps a trip for me, unburdened. Later, an unexpected outreach. Mrs. Hargrove emailed, inspired by the rumors. "Stephen, your stand reminded me to value real ties. Coffee soon?" It warmed me, alliances blooming from the chaos. I muttered to myself over a solitary toast with coffee. To dignity reclaimed. The home felt fuller, not with things, but with self-worth. Kevin's lesson might sting, but growth often did. Hints of his regret suggested seeds planted. As the rain finally cleared, I stepped outside into the crisp air, sunlight breaking through clouds, a new path unfolding before me. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.